afternoon, Laura. Welcome to this podcast recording. I'm Mary Anne. I'm with Pace, and please introduce yourself.
Hi, Mary Anne. So glad to be here in beautiful Cape Town. My name is Laura. I am the executive director of Instituto Veredas. This is a Brazilian NGO dedicated to knowledge intermediation between civil society, academia, and governments. And I'm also right now one of the co-directors of the Latin American and the Caribbean Evidence Hub.
Wow. It is great to have you here with all these skills and specialties you're bringing to the evidence ecosystem space. Before we proceed, I wanted to ask you, what's your evidence animal? I can see it on your tag, but tell our listeners
So we
and
are
why
here.
you chose that animal.
Yes, that's lovely. So we are here in the Transforming Evidence Network conference that is beautifully organized by PACE and ACET. And one of the activities this morning was us choosing the African animal that most represented us. So I chose the elephant. I enjoyed very much seeing elephants perform in the real world, and I'm touched by the idea that they live in communities and they have long-lasting memory and emotions about what happens. They know where to find the ways to find water and to find food. So I really identify with the sense of being part of a community, supporting each other, and maintaining memory throughout years. This is something I really like.
Nice, thank you for that. All right, so my first question for you is, what inspired your interest in the EIDM space, in the evidence-informed decision-making?
So, I can give you plenty of answers because this is an interest that is sparked and then disinvested and then sparked again many times. But the first thing that sparked my interest was the fact that I work for the Brazilian government in the Ministry of Health. And I was very young and I was a public servant, and I had a big eagerness to make things work. And then when I came to the government day to day, I felt it lacked so much of the important information I needed to make those decisions that affected millions of Brazilians in their lives. And this was when first I thought that working with evidence could help me. But then again, I had some courses on evidence-informed decision-making, and I found them to be so difficult. And then I was demotivated again. But one day I decided to resign my job, and I was very much in love with a person who was in love with evidence-informed decision-making, and I was seduced back into this realm because of the relationship I had and the dreams that we were building together. So in the end of the day, for me it was not so much not about evidence, not about decision making, but about love and the relationships and the capacity of dreaming together. So yeah, if I'm brutally honest, this was the way that I got interested in the first place to engage in this environment.
That's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing. And in your view, what are the most critical areas where EIDM is urgently needed and why?
So in Veredas, the organization I work for, we apply some of IDM methods and tools for different disciplines, right? And we are specifically focused on social policies because thankfully in Brazil we have a beautiful ecosystem of evidence for health. But we didn't, when we started work 8 years ago, had such a flourishing ecosystem for other policies. So one of the topics that I care very much about, I think it's quite important, not only for Brazil, but our region and us in the Global South, is human rights policies. So this is one field that I feel is often overlooked, and different types of evidence can contribute to improving the way we hear, we register the violations, we face those violations. So for us is one area that since the beginning we've been working on. Of course, it's impossible not to talk about climate policies right now. It's something very much in the agenda. Brazil is hosting the COP next year, so everyone is concerned about how climate is related to other policies. But one beautiful work we also been doing now is with cultural policies and understanding how different communities and their ways of producing and maintaining the cultural aspects of their day-to-day lives as a community, their histories, are maintained throughout. And we've seen that different types of evidence play a huge role in showcasing how maintaining these cultural habits of these communities can affect public safety, can affect health, can affect like intersectoral other policies. But I personally have a sweet tooth for the policies that are often overlooked. So I would for sure answer human rights as one of the main topics that as a world I think we should apply different types of evidence to improve our understanding.
Great. And can you tell us more about the Latin American and the Caribbean Evidence Hub and its role in advancing EIDM?
Yes, I can. So then again, another love story. You see, I'm a more romantic today. The Latin American, the Caribbean Evidence Hub was an idea very much inspired by the Africa Evidence Network. So back in 2018, we were part of an international partnership with some colleagues from AEN, and it was one of the first times that colleagues from Brazil, where I live, Colombia, Chile, Trinidad and Tobago, had the opportunity to meet up and see that we were doing similar work with similar shared problems. And the more we aimed at fostering this regional community, not only we would learn more from each other, but we would build a whole generation really of more people engage in this topic. So we learned very much from the beautiful colleagues in Africa Evidence Network. We did actually some mentoring sessions on how the network was created, how did you map stakeholders, what types of activities you've done. We did one big event similar to the evidence events that the AEN does to really foster this debate in the region. And right now what we do is really try and connect people who are applying evidence to solve problems in different policies, people who need evidence, people who are intermediating the use of evidence in the region, and make them come together so that demand, supply, capacity needs and capacity sharing is actually happening. And we just did our Semana de la Evidencia, which is the Latin American and the Caribbean Evidence Week. And we were so proud this year to receive people across disciplines. They organize their own events and we showcase them in the platform. And beautiful debates around technology, around public safety, around human rights, around being a community. So it was quite nice to see that from the beautiful example from AEN, we were able to create this community alongside ourselves.
It's great to hear how capacity building is working on the ground across the globe and in different parts of the world. And so, could you share some examples of successful EIDM initiatives or policies from Latin America and the Caribbean?
Yes, for sure. So, this is a question that often people make to us and pose to us, and it's something that people funding this kind of work is always like, can you show me one shiny example of how this is a game changer, you know, this type of wording. And while I completely understand that you want value for your money, we do have beautiful examples such as the Bolsa Família in Brazil, which is a cash transfer policy, very evidence-based. We also have some changes in the way we conduct primary health care related to the lessons we learn about the most impactful ways to have primary health care in Brazil. But I wouldn't shine those as the best examples because, of course, one big policy can change people's lives. But the way IDM has most changed, I feel, the environment in our region and specifically in my country is more and more we have governments that really want to set units dedicated to different types of evidence, that they understand not only the importance, of course, of policy evaluation, but also qualitative data, citizen engagement, understanding that these different types of evidence, they are this beautiful tapestry on how decision making is made. So right now in Brazil, I think the most shiny example for us is that this collaboration across sectors has allowed us to embed evidence units in the Ministry of Health, in the Ministry of Human Rights and Citizenship, in the Ministry of Family Farming. So we have different units being built from this environment of collaboration across sectors. And I think this is what sustains over time good decisions, right? So one great policy can be demolished with one simple government transition, but long-lasting collaboration, relationships, having new generations come and shape what evidence means. So maybe 10 years ago it was only impact evaluations, and now we have more of an attention of citizen produced evidence because new generations are coming and bringing this to the table. This for me is the big shiny example that we should all pursue, and I'm so proud that to see this flourishing in our region and in Africa as well.
Okay. All right, great. And finally, how do you, and I guess you've spoken a bit about it, but how do you envision the future of EIDM, and what key trends or innovations do you think will shape it?
So then again, when you ask like what is the main topic, and people will say climate, and when we think about what is the main innovation, there is no way to deny that AI is coming to change a little bit. So today over breakfast I was talking with one colleague, and I always perceived, this is not an idea of mine, right? So I'm citing other people that think about this, but this evidence environment as a sea. And right now we have like this huge wave and we are surfing it and feeling, this wave will never stop. But it will. Like the evidence as a word will stop being the main word in dinner conversations, it seems to me, very soon. So the question here with the technology approaching and us leveraging it, because it will be stupid not to leverage it, is what are the key aspects of this that are completely human and could never ever be, not ever, I mean, but not so easily be substituted. So right now I'm thinking very much about how do we approach more of the implementation portion of evidence-informed policy making. How do we make sure that is contextualized to different groups and their needs? How do we strengthen social participation as part of different people from their perspectives, understanding what's evidence bringing to the table and stating their point of view, even if they disagree with what the evidence says. So now everyone seems are looking to technology. I am looking to humans, like what we really need going forward to develop as competencies, as this eagerness to keep collaborating, to keep working together, because if indeed technology achieves its full potential, anyone could just get its own mobile phone and have the answer they're looking. And then maybe we are even more disconnected, and this would be so sad. So how can we keep human connection going when internet connection is getting so big? This is my main view for this future right now.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us, Laura. We've come to the end of this episode.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you, Mary Anne. And congratulations again. This podcast is such a joy. I feel so privileged to be here.
Yes.
And I admire so much the work of the Africa Evidence Network. So congratulations. Long last this network and our capacity to be together.
Great. Thank you. We look forward to it.